What if the very thing you've been relying on to change your life is actually the reason you're not making progress? Most people believe they need more motivation to exercise, more motivation to start a business, more motivation to study, more motivation to finally go after their goals. But what if motivation is the problem? In this video, I'm going to explain why motivation might be keeping you stuck and what successful people do instead. Let's dive in. The motivation trap. Think about how most people approach change. They wait for a moment of inspiration. They watch a motivational video, they read a book, they listen to a podcast. Suddenly, they feel excited. They create a plan, they set big goals, they promise themselves that this time will be different. But then something happens. A few days later, the excitement fades, the motivation disappears, and they go right back to their old habits. Have you ever experienced that? The problem is that motivation is an emotion, and emotions are temporary. Some days you'll feel motivated, some days you won't. If your progress depends on motivation, your progress will always be inconsistent. That's why so many people spend years starting over. They're constantly waiting for motivation to return instead of building systems that work even when motivation is gone. But what actually creates progress? The truth is simple. Lasting change doesn't come from motivation, it comes from action. And action creates momentum. Most people think the process looks like this: motivation, action, results. But in reality, it often looks like this: action, momentum, motivation, results. You don't need motivation to begin. You need the courage to take the first step. And once you start moving, motivation often follows. That's why successful people focus less on how they feel and more on what they do. Let's talk about how you can do the same. First, stop waiting for the perfect mood. One of the biggest mistakes people make is believing they need to feel ready before taking action. The truth is that you will rarely feel completely ready. There will always be uncertainty. There will always be fear. There will always be excuses. If you wait for the perfect mood, you'll spend your life waiting. Instead, make a decision. I will do what needs to be done, whether I feel like it or not. That simple shift can change everything. Second, build systems instead of relying on feelings. Motivation comes and goes. Systems stay. For example, don't rely on motivation to exercise. Schedule your workouts. Don't rely on motivation to read. Set a specific reading time. Don't rely on motivation to work on your goals. Create a daily routine. Systems reduce the need for willpower because the decision has already been made. Third, lower the barrier to starting. Many goals feel overwhelming because we make them too big. Instead of saying, I'm going to work for 3 hours, say, I'm going to work for 5 minutes. Instead of, I'm going to run 5 miles, say, I'm going to put on my running shoes. Success often starts with making the first step ridiculously easy. The easier it is to start, the more likely you are to take action. 4. Focus on consistency, not intensity. People love intense bursts of motivation. They want dramatic transformations. They want quick results. But real growth usually looks boring. It's showing up when you don't feel like it. It's doing the small things repeatedly. It's being consistent long after the excitement disappears. Small actions performed consistently will always outperform occasional moments of extreme motivation. 5. Learn to act despite your feelings. This is where real discipline begins. Most people only take action when they feel inspired. Disciplined people take action regardless of how they feel. They understand that feelings change, goals don't. The ability to act despite discomfort is one of the most valuable skills you can develop because there will always be days when you don't feel motivated. The question is, will you still show up? 6. Become the type of person who follows through. Many people focus only on outcomes. They want to lose weight, make more money, build a successful business, learn a new skill. But successful people focus on identity. Instead of asking, what do I want to achieve? Ask, who do I want to become? Every action is a vote for the person you're becoming. Every workout is a vote for being healthy. Every study session is a vote for being knowledgeable. Every productive day is a vote for being disciplined. Focus on becoming the type of person who follows through on their commitments. 7. Understand that progress is often invisible. This is the lesson most people never learn. For a long time, it may feel like nothing is happening. You exercise but don't see results. You study but don't feel smarter. You work hard but don't see immediate rewards. That's when most people quit. But growth is often happening beneath the surface. Just because you can't see the progress doesn't mean progress isn't happening. Keep going. The people who succeed are often the people who continue long enough to see results of their efforts. If you've been waiting for motivation to change your life, here's something important to remember. Motivation is a great visitor, but it's a terrible leader. Some days it will be there, some days it won't. If your actions depend on motivation, your progress will always be uncertain. Instead, focus on building habits, focus on creating systems, focus on taking action even when you don't feel like it. Because the people who achieve extraordinary things aren't necessarily more motivated than everyone else. They're simply more consistent. Remember, you don't need to feel ready, you don't need to feel inspired, you don't need the perfect moment. You just need to take the next step. One action today is worth more than 1,000 plans for tomorrow. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, subscribe for more content on personal growth, discipline, productivity, and becoming the best version of yourself. And remember, small steps, consistent action, a better life. See you in the next video.